Welcome into One-on-One on Suddenlink Channel 112, live from Studio 318 from a bit of an icy, it's melting, an icy Stillwater. We were out of school yesterday, but we're back here. NBA trade deadline was over at 3:30 yesterday. The over-unders we set for the amount of trades, that was over about 45 minutes after 2:30 on Wednesday. But a ton of people moved, a ton of people didn't move. I want to start there because Anthony Davis, and then we'll get to Marc Gasol, but Anthony Davis
is a Pelican.
He's going to be present for Mardi Gras. It's okay.
Yeah.
They can still party in New Orleans, but he didn't go anywhere. And now we're hearing Danny Ainge is confident with Kyrie Irving. It feels to me like Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and even LeBron James have failed, and they will fail again in the summer because Anthony Davis seems to me is probably going to be wearing green, at least for one season.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we thought the whole time. If the Lakers couldn't get it done before yesterday, he was probably going to be a Celtic because they can just offer the best deal for this. Because when you look at it, you look at the big deal the Lakers offered. Their best player was what, Brandon Ingram or Kyle Kuzma? The Celtics have maybe two guys that are better than both those guys in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, depending on how you feel about Jaylen Brown. But Jason Tatum is definitely better than Brandon Ingram or Kyle Kuzma. And if you're the Pelicans, you're not going to part with Anthony Davis unless you can get a guy back that can at least be an all-star or maybe like an all-NBA guy. I don't know if any of those guys have that potential to be an all-NBA guy, but Jason Tatum has the biggest potential of any of those three. So we'll have to see if Kyrie stays. Like you said, Danny Ainge says, this is just a terrible quote. Makes me cringe a little when I read it. Danny Ainge believes the Celtics and Kyrie Irving are still engaged, but they plan to make it official and get married on July 1st. That is... Don't read. If you're ever in charge of the Chiefs or anything like that and you're trying to re-sign Patrick Mahomes, let's just say you're the GM in a couple of years for some reason, and Patrick Mahomes' contract is up. Do not ever
sell
say...
my soul.
You can say that. Don't say you're going to marry him, though. Don't be like, Patrick Mahomes and I and the Chiefs, we're all about to be married for a long time.
Hey, 50%
That's
of marriages
weird.
end in divorce, so that's not a good statement.
It's just weird.
All right. I agree with you. It's probably Danny Ainge does some stuff, but I think it's hilarious that the Pelicans can sit here, and I want to get into what they did to the Lakers here in a second, but I think it's hilarious that they think Danny Ainge is promising us everything. This is going to go great. The deal's practically done, which I don't understand how that's not tampering, but
right.
the deal's done. Season's over. July 1st, we're going to agree to a deal. Do they really think they're going to pick up the phone and call Danny on July 1st, be like, okay, you ready to make this deal? You know, I've been thinking about let's try and do something a little different, and the Pelicans are going to turn ghostly white. They are going to go pale because they're going to realize that they are about to get totally... They're going to lose.
They're going to lose
the
anyway.
trade with Danny Ainge because what he's agreed to now is not what he's going to agree to on July 1st.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if you trade Anthony Davis, you lose no matter what. There's not a lot of guys that you can trade for where you're like, okay, we got enough talent back to where this is okay for us. The only guys that you can trade for him and feel that way about are not available for trade. Anthony Davis is the only guy like that on the market right now. So yeah, I mean, like you said, Danny Ainge is probably... I don't know if he'll get them as bad as he got the Brooklyn Nets, because back then they had to give up Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. That just turned out they didn't stay in Brooklyn very long. That's kind of why the Brooklyn deal looks a lot better than it did back in the day. But like you said, Danny Ainge is going to try and squeeze the Pelicans dry. He's going to try and get everything he can out of them. That's just the kind of guy he is. And I'd be interested to see if they do trade for him, if he's going to be able to change Anthony Davis's mind and make him want to stay long-term in Boston. I want to ask you this, though. Who do you think looks the worst coming out of the Anthony Davis deal? Is it Anthony Davis? Is it Clutch Sports? LeBron? The Lakers? Like, who is the biggest loser in this escapade?
Well, I think the Lakers are the biggest loser because they just lost out on Anthony Davis. I mean, maybe they'll get him after a year. But I think if they could land Kyrie Irving again, which I really don't think that they will, but if they can get him with Brad Stevens, listen, Boston, LA, no offense to Boston, LA's a better place to live. It's better for professional athletes. It's more flashy, especially in the NBA. But if he could go to Boston, maybe fall in love with it, I think they've lost out on Anthony Davis. But I'll read you this headline, and I will tell you who I think was the worst in this trade negotiations. The headline on Yahoo Sports is Pelicans tried to sabotage Lakers' chemistry through Anthony Davis trade rumors. Brian Windhorst talked about this on The Jump, and I think Brian Windhorst is one of the best in the business. I don't think he would just pull that out of thin air.
Yeah.
I think the Pelicans look bad, and I don't think anyone's going to want to do a ton of business with the Pelicans, not in a legitimate trade, because I think they embarrassed themselves.
See, I think I agree with what you're saying, that those are good points. But I feel like it makes LeBron James and Clutch Sports look bad, because this is the second time that this has kind of happened, where Clutch Sports is like, this is where our guy wants to go. He wants to go here, and they kind of create this war. Like, it kind of seems like LeBron against the rest of the roster, and he's had that reputation for a while that he's the GM and he can trade whoever he wants. But this is like the first time it felt like from the outside that he kind of looked like the bad guy, sitting at the end of the bench by himself. All the constant trade talk, never mentioning any of it. And we were talking about it before the show started. Lonzo Ball put that post out on Instagram that he wasn't going anywhere, And LeBron James liked that. And then, it kind of seemed like it was all good last night in the Boston game. But I don't know if these young guys, we'll talk about LeVar Ball in a minute. He had some stuff to say about LeBron. But I don't know if these young guys reacted the same way that the vets that LeBron's used to playing with have reacted to this kind of stuff in the past. I feel like they kind of have some resentment for LeBron after this.
Yeah, and I mean, now the headlines, I'll read you Brian Windhorst's quote really quickly. When asked about, the Lakers the Pelicans undermining the Lakers, he said, "It's not just possible, it's what happened. I know that the Pelicans, how do I want to put this? The Pelicans had a method to their madness in the way this went. Did they know it was going to lead to a 40-point loss because everybody's upset? Not necessarily." As he's alluding to, that 42-point loss, the worst of LeBron's career to the Pacers. People are feuding with Luke Walton. Apparently, you've got LeVar Ball, which we'll get into later, spewing all kinds of ridiculous stuff all over national television. It's just, they leaked their offers. It was just an embarrassment to the league, quite honestly, from the get-go. Because if you're going to go get Anthony Davis and somebody makes that offer to you, you're not going to win out on the Anthony Davis sweepstakes. Yeah. He just told you not less than a week ago, I don't want to be here. So you're going to turn down Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, Hart and Zubac. I get those probably. And, the Lakers would have been good to get rid of Caldwell Pope's contract.
Yeah.
But him with Rondo, they were going to trade half their team.
Right.
And the Pelicans said, no thanks.
Right, and the Pelicans' ownership situation is just a weird deal in general. You've got people that are really focused on the Saints, football people, running a basketball team. They bought the team, I guess, just to keep it in New Orleans, but they don't pay a lot of attention to it. And they come with it with a different mentality. They come with a football owner mentality that, like you said, they use the guys until they're done. And then Anthony Davis is under contract, and he's one of the best players in the league. So why even entertain the idea of trading him if you have him under contract for a year and a half? You don't even have to trade him this summer. You can trade him next February.
Yeah.
So I think that's the mentality that they came at it with. And if the Lakers kept calling with these offers, you might as well leak it out.
Well, I think it was a mess from both sides from the get-go.
Yeah. And I think the Lakers realized that towards the end of it, that they, like when Magic Johnson realized he's bidding against himself, there was no hope in this, and they never really intended to take it seriously.
Yeah, the last 2 days they really had little to no communication, according to multiple NBA sources. But some people did move. A ton of people moved, actually. But Marc Gasol is on his way to Toronto after they offered Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, they ended up getting a lot less.
Yeah,
in my
still
opinion.
in Memphis.
Yeah,
that was a weird deal. But you were showing me kind of a tweet earlier that alluded to, Kawhi Leonard and Marc Gasol are probably going to keep their passports and get out of Canada as soon as this season ends.
Right. I mean, and you got to applaud the Raptors for going all in, because as with the 76ers making the move they did a couple of days ago to get Tobias Harris, you look and you wonder, can the Raptors win the East? They got, I think, a lot better by adding Marc Gasol. It's going to be a tough sell to keep those guys in Toronto past the season, because outside of like DeMar DeRozan, who has wanted to stay in Toronto? DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry are the only two guys I can think of that have wanted to stay there based on how, and they traded one of those guys away. They traded DeMar DeRozan. Mm-hmm. So you have to applaud them. I think they'll make a really good run in the playoffs. I don't know if they'll make the finals. I think them or the Bucks would be my pick to go to the finals, but we'll have to see come, when would that be? About May?
Yeah, and Avery Bradley is headed to Memphis.
That poor guy.
The Clippers have made some moves, not any of significance. The big one is Markelle Fultz is on his way to Orlando. The Sixers got Jonathan Simmons, protected 2019 first-round pick and a 2019 second-round pick.
Right.
And you see there Mirotic to the Bucks, as you mentioned. I mean, there was not a ton of groundbreaking trades.
No.
I don't think the landscape of the NBA changed a whole lot. But you asked earlier, is it official that we can say the process failed? So yes,
yeah.
You think the process failed?
I mean, you look at their draft history. Markelle Fultz, number 1 overall pick, probably a bust. They were lucky to get a first-round draft pick for him, and it's a lottery-protected Thunder pick, so it'll probably be in the 26, 27 range somewhere. It's not going to turn into anyone probably. So you get Markelle Fultz, number 1 overall pick, a bust. I think we can both agree on that, at least for now. Ben Simmons, you get that one right. And then the year before that, 2015, you take Jahlil Okafor. He's in New Orleans. He's been on multiple teams since then.
Yeah, sort of. He's not playing a ton.
Right. 2014, you take Joel Embiid. That ended up working, but for 3 years, that was like, why did you draft this guy? He's never going to play. And they also traded for Nerlens Noel. He's obviously not there anymore. He's putting in some good minutes for the Thunder. You look at and the year before that, before Joel Embiid, you take Michael Carter-Williams. He wins Rookie of the Year, but then he disappears.
Then he goes into witness protection.
Right. He has not shown up since. And you really only hit on 2 guys in 5 years of just being terrible for many, many years. So, and you don't even know if it's going to lead to anything, because you go all in, you trade for Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. Both of those guys could be gone. And then at the end of the year, you're left with a depleted roster that surrounds Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, who I don't even think like each other all that much. So it'll be interesting to see where they're at in 3 years if they're back trying to start the process over.
So the process failed in Philadelphia, but Markelle Fultz is on his way to Orlando. Some would say a fresh start, but it's also the Orlando Magic. How fresh of a start can you get in that organization?
Yeah.
Where does Markelle Fultz go from here, assuming he's healthy?
I think he can manage to play in Orlando for a couple of years if he's healthy.
That's assuming a lot.
Right. Just because they don't have a great point guard. DJ Augustine's their starting guard now. He can carve himself a role in that organization, but that organization is not well known for, cultivating young talent. At one point, they had Victor Oladipo and Tobias Harris on their roster. They're doing much better for other teams now.
Before we get out of here of this segment, one team that won a trade, of all the trades in the NBA, one team with one player.
I would say the Bucks won that Mirotic trade just because they gave up multiple second-round picks and they surround Giannis with another shooter. I think that'll help them going into the playoffs.
I want him to get traded to Washington and team up with Bobby Portis again.
Ooh.
Good Washington headlines. We're going to take a quick break, come back and talk about everything, every other rumor. The petty wars are always there in the NBA. We'll come back and talk about that right after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Tinker Federal Credit Union. Visit facebook.com/TinkerFCU. While you're there for your family, we're there for you. Tinker Federal Credit Union. And OSU Communications. Not sure where to park? OSU Communications has got you covered with parking tips and bus schedule information. We'll be right back.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
Welcome back into One-on-One on Suddenlink Channel 112, live from Studio 318. As you see, the former Thunder right there, Kevin Durant, and I say that obviously because we're in Oklahoma and we will start
They're teaming up again. The old Big Three's teaming up in the All-Star game for Team LeBron.
It will be interesting. On Monday, there was so much going on here. Let's draft our teams on Monday.
All right.
We'll draft our teams.
Sounds good.
I'll be LeBron. You can be Giannis because I don't know. I guess it's probably better to be Giannis at this point. Does not worth as much money, but
I feel like more people like Giannis than LeBron at this point, on his team at least.
Giannis is not balding yet. So
that's true.
He's got that going for him.
That's true.
So Kevin Durant, after the game the other night, the Warriors in a blowout win over the Spurs. They've been playing well for a few weeks now.
I would say a few years.
Well, yeah, but they went through some struggles by Warrior standards,
right.
and they've been playing their best basketball over the last month.
Right.
He ripped the media. Actually told a few members of the media to grow up, which I think is quite hilarious. How do you react to the way Kevin Durant treated the media on his little rant over free agency?
It was weird. He goes, obviously after the Porzingis trade, he goes dark for 9 days, doesn't speak to any media at all, and he's usually one of the guys that's always there to talk post-game. He always has something to say, it seems like, but he goes dark. And during that time, people are just going back and forth, wondering why he didn't want to talk about the Porzingis deal or whatever it was. And then he just comes out with this. It seems like he wrote it. He wrote this like rant he went on and practiced it for 9 days before he went out there and gave it to the media. And like you said, he told, I believe it was Ethan Strauss of The Athletic, to grow up. And it was odd, but it was perfectly in character for Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? It's so out of place and weird, but it's just the thing he would do. It's the exact kind of thing that Kevin Durant does. And that's kind of why I'm surprised people are freaking out about it. Like, let's just go through the checklist. Burner Twitter accounts. He went on like a podcast tour. He went on podcasts for a long time and said a whole bunch of weird stuff. He has that incident with Draymond, and I think he went dark with the media after that for a while. Mm-hmm. And then we have this. I mean, this is really business as usual for Kevin Durant. So I understand why people are making a big deal about it. He's one of the best players in the world. He obviously, you want to hear what he has to say about certain things, and when he goes dark, it's odd. So
whose side are you on this?
Can I say both?
It's fair. I mean,
I'm on Kevin Durant's side in the fact that asking a player about free agency anytime anything happens with a team that he's reportedly interested in can be annoying, and it can mess with the locker room, and I can understand why players don't want to talk about that after they've just gone and played a basketball game. But the media also have a job to do. They have deadlines to meet. They have certain things. What was that? Did you hear? There's some loud horn.
About one-on-one.
Yeah, sorry. The media has a job. They have stories to write. They have deadlines to meet. So they need to ask Kevin Durant questions. He's under contract to answer those questions. Whether he likes them or not, he can let them know that in a press conference, be like, that's a stupid question. I don't know why you have to go dark and then come out with a big rant.
For as big of a player as Kevin Durant is and as powerful as Kevin Durant is, I think he's one of the top 3 players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in the finals, in the playoffs. He's been the best player the Warriors have had. It's still Steph Curry's team, but he has played incredibly well in the past 2 playoffs. A guy who once had a burner account and was feuding with a 14-year-old kid like it was Xbox Live is going to tell a grown-up member of the media to grow up. That is ridiculous. Kevin Durant mismanages just about everything he does. He's the most uncalculated person I've seen. Like you said, you go dark for 9 days, you just quit talking to people. It's like he's a teenager, and we're all his parents trying to figure out what's wrong with him. Kevin Durant can't act like a child and not expect the media to go, something's up, dude. You're on the best team in the league. You're probably going to win your 3rd straight title, and you keep signing 1-year contracts.
Right.
So maybe I have no problem with what Ethan Strauss wrote. Obviously, somebody told him something. I don't think he made that up. So Kevin Durant should be mad at the people that are blabbing. But he's going to the Knicks, and that's why he's acting like this. He just lashes out, and I can't for the life of me understand telling people to grow up. What he did was immature.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust, what did he say? I don't trust none of y'all. Why? Why? Because there's 4 people in this room, say we're all journalists, and Camera One David writes a hit piece on Kevin Durant. Why should we all, the 3 of us, be blamed as bad journalists? Don't trust us. What did they do? And then he's like, ask something about the game. So somebody asks something about the game, and that's when he gets up and walks out. Because you're right, it was rehearsed. Yeah. It was his little plan. It was his little rant, which is what people who are immature do. And then gets asked a question about the game. He's like, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
Why?
I will say this. I think post-game press conferences are stupid.
Yes.
I understand you need media availability, but I don't know if post-game is always the... there's got to be a better way to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that.
Because, I mean, a lot of the questions you get about the game out of those are like, Kevin, what were you thinking whenever you hit that 3 in the 3rd quarter? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they're not... Listen, I get his frustration.
Yeah.
Because if I ask you every day, Logan, what are you going to do when you graduate?
Right.
And then I ask you in the morning, I ask you at lunch, and I ask you when I see you, and when I go home and I'm going to text you. That happens every day for 2 years straight. You're probably going to want to punch me.
Right.
I get it. But it's not in my contract. It's not in your contract.
Right.
You're not getting paid all this money to do these things. And I get when people don't like the argument, well, you can't say they make X amount of dollars, they should have to deal with this. Yeah, you can. That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
You're signing up for this to play in that spotlight, and it'll never happen. But if he's going to act like this, he shouldn't get any media coverage. If he's going to rip the media, then stop covering him. Obviously, that's not going to happen,
right.
But that's the easy way out. But I have a problem. If he would have said, Ethan Strauss, hey, I'm not a fan of what you wrote. I'm not going to answer questions about it. I'm done. And in a way, he said that, but he was almost leading it on. He's like, keep it coming, because I just want to lose my mind. I think Draymond got sick of this. I think his teammates are sick of this, and everyone but Kevin Durant is over his little game that he's playing. He's a phenomenal basketball player, but he doesn't handle these things the right way.
I will say, you can't do that if you go to New York.
Oh.
The media would destroy him. The Warriors are beloved in Oakland and San Francisco. If he does that in New York, there will be 9 days of terrible articles, much worse than what Ethan Strauss will ever write about him.
Good luck getting the New York Post or the New York Daily News to apologize for a headline Because you can do that in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That will not work in New York. It doesn't even work on the West Coast.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Kevin Durant has got to get a little better about this stuff. He's got to. And like I said, I don't blame his frustration. I get it. But handle it another way. There's a better way to handle it.
Yeah, I agree.
So maybe a New York Knick, maybe not. We'll see. But he's going to keep getting these questions.
Right.
Okay. Harrison Barnes gets traded during the game. LeBron goes on Instagram. He's not a fan of it. Turns out Harrison Barnes was warned this is a real possibility, and he decided to play. I don't have a problem with it. If he was completely in the dark and he had no idea, that you see his final bucket there as a Dallas Mav, dropped 10 points against the Hornets, and he was traded to Sacramento. He's, I believe, a $25 million team option after this year. The Kings seem to be fairly excited about the future with Harrison Barnes. But do you have a problem with him being traded during the game?
No, because like you said, he was warned before. They told his agent, like, hey, this might happen. We don't want to play him. And Harrison Barnes said he wanted to play. I mean, the trade deadline was coming up. You have to get that done before the Kings move on to something else, and you can't move off his salary. I really like the move for both teams, actually. I think Harrison Barnes could play a really nice role in that Kings system. I like what the Kings have been doing. That's super weird to say, but it also clears up a ton of cap space for the Mavericks. So I'm interested to see what they plan to do this summer or next summer, because they have some money to add some really good guys to pair with Luka and Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, bright future really for Dallas and Sacramento, like you said, which is weird to say.
Is this 2002?
Yeah,
that's so weird.
Once the news broke that hey he had been warned, I didn't have a problem with it at all.
I agree.
What I do have a problem with is LeVar Ball still gets airtime.
He was gone for so long. We did so good. Okay. He was not on any show for so long.
He went on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon on Fox Sports 1. I'll read you this quote. The Lakers trade my son. They'll never get a championship. LeBron James without Lonzo is not going to win a championship in L.A. I guarantee that.
You know, LeBron has never won a championship without Lonzo. Is that true? No, that's false. He's won 3 without him. Lonzo is nowhere near the second best player on the team. He's nowhere near the best point guard he's ever played with. It doesn't even. LeVar is LeVar. He'll say whatever he's gonna say, but I think they had struck a deal before the season, him and the Lakers and LeBron, that he would shut up for the season. But then whenever they were like talking about trading Lonzo, he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go on every show now again and say what I'm gonna say."
We've talked. I'm almost for sure we've had this conversation on this show before, but Lonzo going into the locker room, because LeBron knows what he said.
Yeah.
He's talked about LeBron's son. LeBron did not like that, rightfully so. The relationship's probably fractured anyways. Like you said, these young players probably do not like what LeBron's been doing.
Yeah.
But Lonzo walking into a locker room to LeBron James, and LeBron James looking at him. Now, it's not Lonzo's words, it's his dad's.
Right.
But he's still got to be a little upset about what LeVar's saying.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can't imagine Lonzo Ball is a Laker when and if they ever win a championship with LeBron. Yeah, if anything, they won't win a championship with him there. The guy shoots like 20% from the three-point line and 40 from the free throw line. You can't have a guy. Rondo's the only guy that I can think of like that plays point guard that has those kind of numbers.
Does he move this summer? He's not getting moved now, obviously.
Yeah.
The deadline's over.
I would say this summer is a good possibility.
I think
he would still be a key piece in an Anthony Davis trade. What
LeVar does is just absolutely insane.
Absolutely.
Absolutely insane. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk about the former Sooner head coach who's now in the XFL, Kyler Murray, going to the Combine. Plenty of football stuff right after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Christian University. Get your master's degree in accounting, business administration, theology, engineering, computer science, or cybersecurity from Oklahoma Christian University. Apply at oc.edu/grad. Oklahoma University is committed to offering the best graduate school experience we possibly can. Come learn and grow with us. And The Table. Stop by The Table on Thursdays at 8 p.m. to join their Bible study. Shoot Rachel an email at rachel@thetableosu.com for more information. We'll be right back.
my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
Welcome back to 101 on Suddenlink Channel 112, live studio 318. You're seeing there Kyler Murray, part of his Heisman campaign right there against the Cowboys. But it seems as a series of awkward interviews, especially the one with Dan Patrick over Super Bowl week.
Not a good interview.
He would not. I think everyone assumed he was probably going to the National Football League, but he wouldn't answer. Super awkward, and he wouldn't give the answer. So I will. I'll go out on a limb and say, now that he's going to the Combine, it's safe to say he's going to the National Football League. But why was he giving those interviews this way? Because I'm not shocked that he's going to the Combine. I'm not shocked.
The only reason I could think he would be giving the interviews is if he's doing brand deals. What was he on Dan Patrick's show for? Like Under Armour or Gatorade? I think it was Gatorade or something like that. He's already getting football money. Like, he's already getting brand deals as a football player. And he's going to the Combine. I think the A's have to know he's choosing football.
Yes, but I mean now that he's going to the Combine, it's absolutely it seems that way. But I just thought it was weird that he wouldn't
answer. He
And
wou't even like give a vague.
They were bad interviews.
They were really bad. And the Dan Patrick one in particular, he said nothing for like 2 or 3 straight minutes. Dan Patrick had to remind him that the mics were on. He said, "You know those mics work, right?" He's an interesting guy. It'll be interesting to see how well he'll be able to lead a football team if he ends up choosing the NFL. I'll be very interested to see. I know everyone says you don't have to worry about the hype with quarterbacks anymore. Are there really a lot of examples of undersized quarterbacks having a ton of success outside of like Russell Wilson and Drew Brees?
No, not really.
I mean, 2 guys.
I mean, Baker Mayfield is playing well, obviously, in his first season. But Kyler Murray, he's got to get over these interview things.
He's got to get a coach. He's got to get a media coach.
Yeah, it has not been handled well, but he is going to the Combine. Mel Kiper does have him in his top 10. I believe he's sitting at 6 or 7, in his best 10 players of the draft. But speaking of the Sooners, former Sooner head coach Bob Stoops is now the head coach and general manager of Dallas XFL. They don't have a mascot. I really don't know if they will. Spent 18 years at OU, won a national championship in 2000. He's the winningest coach in Sooners history, but he cuts it short, hands the reins over to Lincoln Riley. I believe he's 58.
Yeah,
by college football coach standards, he still had a lot of time left. But he always said, I'm going to quit when it's time. And I think this is a good commitment for him because it's a 10-week season. He can really control things, and it's not a full-time commitment like college football is.
Right.
But were you a little surprised?
I was absolutely blown away. I thought he would return to college in some smaller capacity than a head coach. Maybe he's an assistant or maybe he's an advisor, this or that. I thought he would return to college before he went to the XFL, much less pro football. Maybe I thought he might go do something in the NFL. I didn't really put much stock into that. But the XFL, how long is this going to last? I mean, is he just going to be doing this for a couple of years, Reed? I don't think this is sustainable.
The league or this job?
The league. And maybe the job. I don't know. I don't know how his coaching style will translate. I think it's going to be really interesting.
I think it's more sustainable now than when it first started. And now you have different leagues, the American Football Alliance or the American Alliance Football, whatever it's called. They're starting, and then you have the XFL. But if they can land guys like Bob Stoops, he can make a team out of former OU players all by himself.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's more sustainable now than it was then, and there's more money behind it, and you can certainly get the word out. You know, broadcasting games is a lot easier now in 2019.
That's true.
Than it was way back when the XFL started. So I think the idea, the business model is a lot more sustainable and set up for better success now. That certainly doesn't mean it's going to succeed because the NFL is going to do everything within its power to crush these leagues.
Yeah.
And they will do it easily, I think. But Andrew Luck's dad, Oliver Luck, is the president of the league. It's backed by Vince McMahon, obviously WWE. There's a ton of money there.
Yeah.
I think there's potential, but I'm with you. I think Bob Stoops, this will probably be a 1 or 2 year deal, and Bob Stoops will say, yeah, I'm just going to go back and stand on the sidelines in Norman and do my thing.
Yeah, and I mean, to go more into the scheduling of the XFL, it's in the worst time possible for a pro sports league to start. Like you said, it's a 10-week season, right? It's in like the middle of the NFL playoffs, right? It starts in like January. It starts in January and I believe goes through parts of March. I think the last game will be at the end of March. You're competing with like March Madness, the NBA when it starts to really heat up after the trade deadline, the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl.
Is the target like football fans that just need their fix of football even during that time?
Even if it is, that's a terrible time to do it. Do it in the off season. Do it before the preseason, or even do it like leading into part of preseason. If you're trying to get football fans, it's just, I don't know. I'll be very interested to see if this goes past 2 years. That's 2 to 3 would be the max I would give it. It was ran so poorly last time. Maybe Vince McMahon learned some stuff from that. Like you said, they've got names, at least. Bob Stoops, I didn't think about it. He could go get a bunch of former OU guys and make a team. And maybe that's their strategy with the coaches and GMs, is to just get these old college guys that can go get guys that played for them and didn't make it pro and put them in this league. That would be a good strategy for filling up the talent, I feel like. But I just don't know how the style of play is going to translate. It's going to be interesting. I'll definitely watch at least. I'm not even going to say I'll watch a game. I will follow what happens on Twitter sometimes.
Well, they're going to be playing in Globe Life Park. You know, the Rangers obviously are getting some new digs next year, so it's going to be reconfigured a little bit. That's where they're going to be playing. But I'm with you. I don't see a huge future for the XFL or the Alliance of American Football, but the NFL will stay king, and they will probably manipulate these leagues enough to end them effectively. National Signing Day was on Tuesday, I believe. Cowboys picked up on other people, but the story was Gavin Potter, at least for me, signing with KU football.
Yeah,
the linebacker. Maybe I've seen some weird announcements.
This one was weird.
This one takes the cake.
I wish we had the video, but we unfortunately couldn't get it. It wasn't.
Yeah, unfortunately, national news sources do not particularly think this is a big story.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a big story because one of the way he did it was weird, and he seemed to think it was going to be a lot of fun playing the Cowboys and Sooners because they let him leave the state of Oklahoma. Yeah, okay. I get it, Les Miles is there. You're going to Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas football. You're mad because OU and OSU let you leave the state. They let you leave. They opened the door for you. They filled up the car with gas and said, go. Get out of here.
Get out. We don't want you.
And he trolls K-State. K-State's not a football power, but compared to 30 miles east, they look like Alabama. Texas Tech just fired their coach because they couldn't make a bowl game.
He got hired in the NFL.
They look like Clemson compared to Texas.
Compared to Kansas.
Compared to Kansas, excuse me. Texas and Kansas.
Yeah.
KU beat Texas, so I guess they're still better.
What a great game.
But seriously, man, and he takes his shirt off.
That was definitely the weirdest part, was when he has like the body paint with the KU.
Yeah.
It was all smeared and it wasn't quite the right colors by the end of it. It was.
We've seen you know, taking off. Oh, they put on a Texas sweater. They take that off, and it's got A&M under it, and they take that off, and they've got a Baylor shirt under that. This dude didn't even have a shirt on. What? Like, the worst part is his parents are just like,
this is normal.
It was a weird one to me. But they got their son a scholarship to play Division I football, so they're obviously doing something right. I cannot critique parenting, but it was a little weird, and social media reaction to it was a little weird.
It was definitely weird.
But he is leaving the state of Oklahoma, and he is going to be the new linebacker at Broken Arrow and playing for the Jayhawks next season. Patrick Mahomes will stay up in Kansas City, not Kansas. It's in Missouri.
It's in Missouri, yeah.
Viral video of him playing basketball, he crossing up some old guys in a rec league, it looked like.
Yeah.
Brett Veach, the GM for the Kansas City Chiefs, called his agent, and he will no longer be playing basketball.
Yeah, I was surprised that wasn't already in his contract, that he couldn't play other sports, and maybe it was, and he just got unlucky and someone was there videoing him. But I swear, that guy can do whatever he is a great athlete. He could play any sport he wanted, and he would probably be great at it. If he had chose baseball, probably would have been really great at baseball. If he had chose basketball, probably really good at basketball. If he had chose polo, he probably would have been the world's best polo player. I don't know. He seems like he could do whatever he wants except play basketball now.
Do you have a problem with the Chiefs saying no more basketball?
No, absolutely not. They're invested in Patrick Mahomes. He just won the MVP. He's their quarterback. You can't have him going out tearing his ACL at the Y and then missing a year when he's supposed to be playing football for you. If he gets injured playing football for you, you have to live with that. But I feel like as an organization, you have to limit the way your guys can go out and get hurt. Now, obviously, you can slip and fall in your home and rupture your Achilles, and that just happens sometimes for some people, I guess. But you don't want them going out and playing other sports and getting injured.
I don't have a problem with it, but Richard Sherman seems to have a problem with it on Twitter.
Richard Sherman is great at negotiating contracts, so maybe he can get a new deal for Patrick Mahomes.
His argument is let them do whatever they want. It's like they're owning him. They're telling us what to do. It's a bully league. We have to do what they say. They're going to write him a $200 million check. They can tell him to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And his argument is, like you just made, he can tear it playing football. He can tear it working out. But if that's the way it happens, then you live with it. But the fans and Clark Hunt, if he tears his ACL playing basketball, are going to be livid and sick to their stomach for a year. And you never know if he'll ever be the same player. The risk of injury is always there. But don't do it shredding a bunch of old guys at the Y because you want an extra workout. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, you got to limit how these guys get hurt. And, just shoot hoops in your driveway. You don't have to go to the Y.
Yeah, you don't have to go to Y. So I don't have a problem with that either. But Brett Veach cut that off immediately as soon as he saw the video. So we're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk about how the Cowgirls defeated the Sooners in Bedlam Wednesday night, but the Cowboys lost at the buzzer, and a trip to Lawrence is in their future. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Air National Guard. Contact Oklahoma Air National Guard at 800-GO-TO-ANG or visit their website at goang.com/OK for more information about how to get 100% college tuition. And Unitarian Universalist Church. If you're looking for a church home, visit Unitarian Universalist Church of Stillwater, located at 320 South Stallard Street. They offer an alternative spiritual path and welcome all races, religions, and beliefs. They're also LGBTQ friendly. Services every Sunday at 10:30. We'll be right back.
Stillwater Medical Center now offers a convenient way to view your health information online. It's secure, easy, and free. Our hospital and clinic patient portals allow you to view results and reports, medications and allergies, track visit histories, view upcoming appointment information, and see your statements. To enroll, go to stillwatermedical.com and click on the patient portal link near the top right of the page. If you have questions, please feel free to call 405-533-6010.
Welcome back to One-on-One on Suddenlink Channel 112, live from Studio 318. The Cowboys, you're seeing them there against that win against South Carolina. They go down to Fort Worth, they get down 11 and a half. They come all the way back, get a 7-point lead. Then they're down 1. TCU goes up 3. Thomas Dzongwa sinks a tray to tie it with 4 or 5 seconds left.
Yep.
Then TCU continues to go down and make a shot that just a dagger right in the heart of the Cowboys.
Yeah, this was a tough loss because this was one they were in. This is a game both you and I thought they weren't going to be in. I think rightly so if you look at the roster.
Well, they weren't in the first half.
Right. So they got in at the end. They had a chance to win, and they lose probably in one of the worst ways you can lose this game. Again, Duncan Demuth plays a minute. Curtis Jones plays 20 minutes. I guess they're managing the workload fine. They're not getting tired yet. I'm worried about the rest of the season going forward, but, this was a tough one. This was one that you could have stolen. I feel like any win for the Cowboys at this point in the season, except maybe West Virginia, is an upset.
Right.
So it's unfortunate that one got away from them.
Well, it's a difficult one to lose that way. I almost feel like getting blown out is just better because you're like, hey, but Yor and I and Isaac Likely have phenomenal games.
Yes.
Yor, 20 points.
7 for 7 from the field.
And 6 of 7 from the line. Phenomenal stat line. He is vastly improving at a rate that he's going to be a really, really good player before very long. Isaac Likely, he has a good game. He dropped 17. It's just the minutes seem to be piling on. Only 2 guys off the bench, and Duncan plays 1 minute. Curtis Jones plays 20, but only drops 2 points. But a good performance. Now, Lawrence and played number 13. LeGerald Vick is no longer with the team, at least for now. Had to leave the team for personal reasons, but it's still Kansas up in Fog Allen. Prediction for Saturday.
It's the same prediction I've given for all of these games as of late. They're gonna lose. Playing them, they've played Kansas so close. Obviously, they beat them twice last year. Kansas is pissed.
Yeah.
Kansas, they see these guys they see us on the schedule. They know what's happened the past couple of years. They know the state of how our roster is. They want to kill us. They want to run us off the floor. And Kansas is not as good as they have been in the past couple of years.
Right.
They have really struggled as of late, but they're going to bring their best for this game.
Well, their best game they've played all season, really, was against Texas Tech a couple weeks ago, and that was right after Silvio De Souza was declared ineligible. Now LeGerald Vick's gone, and you're right. They see that orange and black on the schedule, and they're probably a little ticked about everything that's happened with them with the NCAA, losing players, losing to their arch rival. They're on the ropes of losing their first Big 12 title in 14 years. They're upset, and this is the perfect team to kind of exercise those demons. But I still think the Cowboys will fight.
Yeah.
What do you think the final score will be for this game?
I think it'll be something like Kansas 75, Oklahoma State's 64, 65, something like that. I think it'll be close to a double-digit loss still, but like you said, I think the Cowboys are going to fight in this game. Kansas is a little shorthanded. They've lost a couple of guys, some to injury, some to personal reasons. So I think it'll still be interesting just because of what's happened the past couple of years between these two teams, but I think Kansas at home, that's too much. That's a lot for the Cowboys to overcome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult game for the Cowboys. I agree with you. I think they'll probably lose by close to 10 or a 70-60 type game. but it's got to be difficult for the Cowboys after everything they've been through, and it's continue to be the storyline is, how fresh they're going to be. And Kansas is still, maybe not by Kansas standards, but they're still a really, really good basketball team.
Right.
OSU Cowgirls on Wednesday night started out down 12-2 to the Sooners. And then they fight all the way back, have a good lead at halftime. It gets close again, but they end up winning by 10, 84-74. Vivian Gray and Jaden Hobbs combined for 50 points. So without those two, maybe different game.
Oh, yeah.
But what a performance from the Cowgirls.
Absolutely, and we talked about it. It was a great bounce-back opportunity for the Cowgirls after they had gone on a 4-game losing streak. And they capitalized on it. Like you said, they went down early. They fought back. It was close in the end, but they ended up pulling out the 10-point victory. So you got to take that as a huge win. That's a moral victory and a victory that goes on the record book, which you need if you want to make the NCAA tournament. So I thought that was a great showing by the Cowgirls. Hopefully they can ride that momentum into the next game and through the rest of the season. Because I thought they played really well. I thought they played like they did early on in the season.
For OU to be as bad as they are defensively, they're the 5th worst in the country.
Yeah.
I didn't think they quite exposed it as much as they need to. They still dropped 84 points.
Yeah.
But I thought it could have been better, and I think Coach Littell would probably,
agree,
share that sentiment. But a good performance, give 50 points from Vivian Gray and Jaden Hobbs, that you're not going to complain about.
Right.
But they do have a game this weekend as well tomorrow in Galgarai, but they're taking on Texas Tech, a team that they've beaten before 65-57, down in Lubbock. So now they get the Red Raiders again in Galgarai, but what do you envision tomorrow? Because, they kind of need to have that Vivian Gray, Jaden Hobbs. Maybe you don't need 50 points. Excuse me, the game's down in Lubbock. I was thinking it was here. But the game is in Lubbock. Texas Tech's 10-12. So kind of like you saw OU. They're struggling a little bit. They lost their last 5.
Yeah.
So they lost to Baylor.
It's a little bit of a struggle.
I'm going to read you the score. Do you know what it is of that Baylor game?
I'm sure it's like 30 points or something. I have not seen it.
96-37.
Oh my gosh.
And they lost to Iowa State 105-66. So they have been blown out a couple times over the last couple weeks. So this might be an opportunity for Oklahoma State really to
get things rolling, because
get things rolling, get a winning streak going here to finish out the season.
After that Texas Tech game, they come back home to play number 14 Texas, then go to Iowa State, number 22. They're coming up on a rough stretch. So like you said, hopefully they can get kind of some momentum and a winning streak going. And obviously you can't ask for 50 points from Gray and Hobbs again, but you can still ask for that same kind of effort, the same intensity they were playing with, because they were getting it done against the Sooners. And like you said, 5th worst defense. You can't ask for a repeat of what you got against that. But I think this is a good building block. I think they have a great chance to go down there, play their kind of basketball, and go on a little bit of a win streak.
Yeah, I think you have a good opportunity against the Red Raiders. You talked about a Texas team you only lost to by 9, but they've struggled at times. You could probably try and expose them here in Stillwater. At Iowa State's going to be difficult because a team that dominated you at home.
Right.
But West Virginia, a team you're more than capable of beating. Kansas and OU, and then you have Baylor and K-State. So some teams they've lost to, and Baylor, they played them tough. Certainly probably going to go Baylor's way.
Yeah.
But they still have an opportunity. It's going to be tough. They're going to have some really good performances. They're sitting at 13-8, 7th in the Big 12 now. So they need a couple upsets. They really, quite honestly, probably need to win out.
Pretty close. I think you can afford
tournament.
Yourself 2 losses, but I don't think it can be to a Texas or an Iowa State. I think you can afford to lose to Baylor, and that's really it. You need to go on and have a little bit of a good winning streak, win some tough games on the road in Iowa State. I think if you can play Baylor tough, the committee will look at it a little bit differently than if you just get run off the court. But like you said, they're not totally eliminated from the tournament race quite yet. We'll have to see. Hopefully they can go on a little bit of a winning streak and upset Texas at home, and maybe they can upset Iowa State on the road. We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend there is a pretty big game in college basketball. Number 2 Duke and number 3 number 3 Virginia taking place in Charlottesville.
Man, if West Virginia was 3, that would be
that would be living in an interesting world right there.
That's the
with West Virginia at 3. 1 minute left here. Who do you see pulling off the upset between number 2 and number 3?
This is gonna be a really good game. It's gonna be tough. I'm gonna take Duke. I'm gonna take Duke, but I would not be surprised if Tennessee pulls off the upset.
Well,
technically an upset. It's at Tennessee, right?
Or Virginia.
Or sorry, Virginia.
Yeah, it's at Virginia. Virginia's number 3. Duke is number 2. So
actually, I'm gonna change my pick. Sorry, I thought it was Tennessee. I'm gonna take Virginia in a close one.
I'm going to take Duke simply because Virginia doesn't score a ton of points. Obviously, they're 20-1, number 3. They're still really good. But I'm going to take Duke to just put up enough points. I think it'll be close, but the Blue Devils get that win. So make sure to watch the Cowboys and Cowgirls this weekend as they're both playing on the road. So we'll be back on Monday to discuss what they were able to do, and there's probably going to be some more NBA news. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on One-on-One on Monday.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.